At family dinner, my stepson said, "Go find another table, only real family allowed." Have you ever felt so embarrassed? So embarrassed that you feel like digging a ground and falling in it? Ha ha ha. What my stepson did to me lives rent-free. At my stepdaughter's wedding reception, my stepson Derek stood up and announced loudly, "Excuse me, everyone. There's been a seating mistake. This head table is for real family only. Linda, there are seats in the back." I was 58 years old. I'd been married to his father for 12 years. And I was done. I stood up, smiled at the 200 guests watching, and said, "You're absolutely right, Derek. Real family. Let me tell everyone what real family actually means." What I said next made 3 of them leave the reception in tears. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Linda Chen, and I married Thomas Brennan when I was 46 and he was 52. His first wife, Sarah, had died of an aneurysm 5 years earlier, leaving him with 4 adult children. Derek was 28 when we married, Christine was 26, Michael was 23, and Amanda was 21. From day one, they made it clear I was temporary, an interloper, someone playing house in their mother's home. I tried everything to connect with them. I hosted holiday dinners they barely attended. I sent birthday gifts they never acknowledged. I offered to help with their children, their careers, their problems. Every gesture was met with cold politeness or outright hostility. Christine once told me at Christmas, "You'll never be our mother, so stop trying." I just offered to help her with her newborn son. Michael needed a loan for his business startup. Thomas wanted to help, but when I suggested we review the business plan together, Michael said, "This is Brennan family business. You wouldn't understand." Thomas gave him $50,000. Michael never paid it back. But the worst was Derek. He'd drop by our house unannounced, walk past me without speaking, and take Thomas into his study for private family conversations. When I'd knock to offer coffee, Derek would say through the door, "We're discussing family matters, Linda." For 12 years, I bit my tongue. Thomas would say, "They're still grieving. Give them time." Time. 12 years of time. Then came Amanda's wedding to a man named James. The planning took 8 months, and I wasn't included in a single decision. Not the venue, not the flowers, not the menu. When Thomas suggested I be involved, Amanda said, "Mom always wanted a garden wedding. I'm honoring her vision." I understood. I really did. But when the seating chart was finalized, I discovered I was placed at table 14, with Thomas's distant cousins, while his children and their families sat at the head table. Thomas was furious. "You're my wife. You sit with me." He threatened not to walk Amanda down the aisle, unless I was at the head table. So Amanda relented. But she didn't forgive it. The wedding ceremony was beautiful. Amanda looked stunning in her mother's restored gown. Thomas cried when he walked her down the aisle. I sat in the second row, watching this family I'd tried so hard to join, and felt completely alone. At the reception, I took my assigned seat at the head table, between Thomas and his brother Richard. The room was elegant, filled with flowers and candlelight. Amanda and James had their first dance. The champagne toast began. Then came the family toast. Derek stood, microphone in hand, and began speaking about Sarah. About what an incredible mother she'd been. About how she'd sacrificed everything for her children. About how her spirit lived on in Amanda's wedding. Every word was pointed. Every memory was a reminder that I wasn't her. That I would never be her. Then Derek turned to the head table, looked directly at me and said, "Actually, before we continue with family toasts, I need to address something. There's been a seating error." The room went quiet. "This head table is reserved for the Brennan family. Real family. Linda, I'm sure you understand. There are seats available at the back tables." 200 guests turned to stare at me. Thomas started to stand, his face purple with rage, but I put my hand on his arm. "It's fine, Thomas," I said quietly. Then I stood up, smoothed my dress, and looked at Derek. At Christine. At Michael. At Amanda in her mother's wedding gown. "You're absolutely right, Derek. This table should be for real family. So let me explain to everyone here what real family actually means." My voice was steady. 12 years of swallowed words made it strong. Real family is the person who sat with Thomas in the hospital for 3 days when he had his heart attack 6 years ago. That was me. His children were too busy to visit for more than an hour. Christine's face went white. Real family is who paid for Michael's business startup when it failed, and he needed another $30,000 to avoid bankruptcy. That was me. From my personal savings. Money I'd been saving since I was 25 years old. Michael was staring at his plate. Real family is who helped Christine through her divorce, watched her children every weekend for 8 months while she rebuilt her life, and never once asked for appreciation. That was me. Christine's eyes were filling with tears, but I wasn't done. Real family is who planned Thomas's surprise 60th birthday party, because his children forgot to call him that day. Who took him to every cancer screening after his heart attack, because he was terrified and needed someone to hold his hand. Who learned to cook his mother's recipes because they brought him comfort. Amanda was crying now, mascara running. And real family, Derek, is who paid for $15,000 worth of your wedding gifts to Amanda, because you told your father you were financially struggling. He was going to cancel his contribution to her wedding. I wrote the check so you wouldn't have to, and so Amanda could have her dream day. Derek's mouth opened but no sound came out. So you're right. This table should be for real family, which means I'm sitting exactly where I belong. And if you'd like me to move, I'll be happy to explain to every person in this room exactly how much money I've quietly contributed to this family over 12 years while being treated like hired help. The silence was absolute. You could hear the ice melting in glasses. Thomas stood up beside me, his voice shaking. Linda has been more family to all of you than you've been to each other. She's been more family to me than I deserved. And if you can't see that, then you're not the children your mother raised. Derek sat down slowly. Christine was sobbing. Michael looked sick. Amanda stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. I sat back down, took a sip of champagne, and said quietly to Thomas, I think the band is ready for the father-daughter dance. The reception continued, but everything had changed. Christine approached me an hour later, eyes red. I didn't know you paid for the party. Dad said he did. Your father has protected you from knowing how much I've helped because he didn't want you to feel obligated to thank me. But Derek just made it clear that politeness is over. Linda, I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough anymore, Christine. I'm not asking you to call me Mom. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm asking you to treat me with basic human respect. That's it. That's all I've ever wanted. Michael came next, shame written across his face. The $30,000. I didn't know. You never asked. You just assumed your father had endless money to bail you out. You never once wondered where it came from. I'll pay you back. I don't want your money, Michael. I want you to stop excluding me from family conversations. I want you to stop acting like I'm a gold digger who trapped your father. I want you to see me as a person who loves your father and has tried to love his children despite being given every reason not to. Derek didn't approach me. He left the reception an hour after my speech, taking his wife and children with him. Amanda came to me at the end of the night, still in her mother's gown. I didn't know about the money for Derek's gifts. Your father didn't want you to start your marriage worried about finances. You didn't have to do that. I did it because I love your father, and his happiness is watching his children thrive, even when those children treat me like I'm invisible. Amanda broke down completely. I've been horrible to you. We all have. I thought if I let you in, I was betraying Mom. Amanda, loving me doesn't erase your mother. She'll always be your mom. Always. I've never wanted to replace her. I just wanted a place at the table. You have it now. I swear you have it. The next morning, Thomas and I had breakfast on our patio. He was quiet, processing everything that had happened. I should have protected you better, he said finally. I kept thinking they'd come around. That time would fix it. Thomas, they're adults. You can't force them to accept me. Last night, I just stopped waiting for permission to exist in this family. What you said about the money was true. Every word. Why didn't you tell me you'd paid Michael the second time? Because you would have felt guilty. You would have worried about fairness. I had the money. He needed it. You're my husband. His struggles are our struggles. Thomas took my hand. You're more than I deserve. Yes, I agreed. I am. But you've loved me enough to make up for what they haven't. In the weeks after the wedding, things shifted. Christine invited me to lunch and actually asked about my life. Michael sent a check for the full $30,000 with a letter apologizing for 12 years of dismissiveness. Amanda called weekly, asking advice about marriage and homemaking. Derek remained distant, but his wife Sarah reached out. Derek's ashamed. He's not ready to apologize, but he wanted you to know he's removed you from his do not invite list for family events. It wasn't much, but it was movement. 6 months later, Christine asked me to watch her kids for a weekend. Not as a last resort, but as her first choice. They love you, she said. I was too bitter to see it. Michael invited us to his business's expansion party and introduced me to his partners as my stepmother, the woman who saved my company twice. Amanda asked me to help her pick out furniture for her first house. I want your opinion. You have great taste. Derek sent a card on my birthday. It said only, "Thank you for loving Dad, Derek." It was enough. Thomas's 65th birthday party was organized by all 4 children together. They seated me at the head table without being asked. Derek gave a toast about family, and this time, when he talked about the people who'd supported the Brennan family through hard times, he mentioned my name. I cried. After 12 years of invisibility, hearing my name included in their family narrative felt like finally coming home. But the real moment came at Christmas. We were all gathered at our house, children, grandchildren, Thomas and me. We were taking a family photo, and the photographer said, "Okay, immediate family in the front." I started to step back, old habits dying hard. Amanda grabbed my arm. "Where are you going?" "Your immediate family." I didn't want to assume. "Mom," Christine said, and it was the first time she'd called me that. "You're in this photo. Front and center." So I stood there, surrounded by Thomas's children and grandchildren, and for the first time in 12 years, I felt like I belonged. That wedding speech didn't fix everything instantly. It didn't erase 12 years of hurt or instantly create love where there'd been resentment. But it did something more important. It drew a line. It established that respect isn't optional. That contribution deserves acknowledgement. That kindness, even when it's not returned, has value. And sometimes, standing up for yourself is the most loving thing you can do. Because it teaches people how to treat you. And it shows them what real family actually looks like. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to stand up for yourself in a family situation? How did it turn out? Let's talk about it. Until next time, remember, respect is earned, but it's also required. This is Mama Zee's